the oceans may be the last truly unexplored and mysterious places left on Earth. They cover more than 70% of the planet's surface. Most oceans have an average depth of about 3.7 kilometers. But one place goes far beyond that: the Mariana Trench, a place hidden deep below, home to creatures waiting to be discovered despite the freezing cold and crushing pressure. But do we really know what is hidden at such unimaginable depths? How was this trench discovered in the first place? What did it have to do with the Soviet Union? And what was the secret behind the two mysterious sound recordings that emerged from the Mariana Trench over time? In this video, we'll search for answers to all of these questions and descend together into the depths of the Mariana Trench for a journey filled with mystery. Around 180 million years ago, during the Jurassic period, while dinosaurs ruled the land, a battle began deep beneath the ocean. Two massive tectonic plates collided slowly but irresistibly. The Pacific Plate began sliding beneath the Philippine Plate. This immense force pulled the ocean floor downward, and over time, the deepest scar on the planet was born: the Mariana Trench. The trench stretches for 2,550 kilometers across the ocean floor. Its deepest point lies 10,984 meters below the surface. Recent measurements suggest it may be more than 11,000 meters deep. That means this place is as wide as continents and deep enough to swallow Mount Everest whole. And in 1872, it was about to be discovered. Chapter 1. Discovery. The HMS Challenger set sail on one of history's greatest scientific ocean expeditions. Its mission was to map the ocean floor, and during the voyage, it traveled nearly 70,000 miles around the world, roughly 1/3 of the distance between Earth and the Moon. Along the journey, measurements were taken at 350 different points. The process was simple. An iron weight attached to a long rope was lowered into the water. When the weight touched the seabed, the depth was calculated. These voyages produced the first rough map of the ocean floor, and during one of these stops near Guam in the Western Pacific, the crew lowered the line. The rope groaned as it unraveled from the wooden spool. Minutes passed, yet it kept descending. The reel spun faster and faster. 3,000 meters, 5,000 meters, 7,000 meters. The crew stared at one another in disbelief. The line still hadn't reached the bottom. Finally, the spool stopped. They checked the measurement: 4,475 fathoms, 8,185 meters. Silence filled every corner of the ship. They had never encountered anything remotely this deep, a seemingly bottomless void beneath the sea, as if they had discovered a hidden wound in the earth itself. That day, without even realizing it, the crew of HMS Challenger wrote the first page of one of history's greatest discoveries. Very few people know this, but the original measurement was actually inaccurate. Ocean currents and the angle of the rope had not been accounted for. And another little-known fact: the original mapping effort wasn't purely scientific. It was largely driven by military interests. The ultimate goal was to identify suitable locations for undersea cable routes and optimize naval pathways. Years later, in 1951, the British research vessel HMS Challenger 2 returned with a revolutionary tool: sonar. Though sonar had been invented in the early 1900s and used during the 1940s to detect enemy submarines, Scientists now wanted to use it for mapping the ocean floor. The idea was simple. Sound waves are sent underwater. They travel until they hit a solid object and bounce back. From that echo, depth can be calculated. It was faster, cheaper, and far more accurate than lowering ropes into the abyss. The greatest mystery remained. How deep was the Mariana Trench, really? When HMS Challenger 2 measured it, they made an astonishing discovery. The screen showed a depth of nearly 10,900 meters, the deepest point in the ocean. If you placed the 102-story Empire State Building there, it would look like a toy at the bottom. This point was named Challenger Deep in honor of the ship that revealed it. Humanity now wanted answers. How had this trench formed? What did it look like? And most importantly, could anyone actually go there? Just as exploration gives value to knowledge, learning expands as we push further, and this is exactly where Sorbal comes in. Some of you may be hearing about Sorbal for the first time. Sorbal is an AI-powered online learning platform. It offers hundreds of courses across 4 main categories: software development, personal growth, career development, and foreign languages. All courses are created by experts and continuously reviewed. You get unlimited access to every current course and all new courses added each month. Each course starts at beginner level and progresses all the way to advanced. Sorbal also includes an AI tutor available 24/7 to guide you. As a member of the internationally accredited CPD organization, all Sorbal certificates are globally recognized and come at no extra cost, opening doors worldwide. Pricing is surprisingly affordable. Sorbal Premium costs just $99.90 monthly or $462 yearly. And if you use the code NIGMA40, your annual subscription drops to just $277. That's an entire year of education for less than the price of a lunch. You can start your new journey today through Sorbal's website or mobile app. Chapter 2. Journey into the Deep. Scientists wanted to descend to the deepest point of the Mariana Trench. But there was one terrifying obstacle: pressure. At the bottom, pressure is over 1,000 times greater than at sea level. That's like having the weight of 3 Eiffel Towers pressing down on you. To demonstrate this, a research team conducted an experiment. They placed a mannequin head inside a pressure chamber and subjected it to extreme force. The result was bizarre and strangely funny. The mannequin's head shrank dramatically under pressure, and it was made of dense rubber. Imagining what would happen to a human is chilling. A solution had to be found. In 1953, the brilliant Swiss scientist Auguste Piccard wanted to become the first human to descend into Challenger Deep. To do it, he needed a vessel capable of surviving unimaginable pressure. Piccard designed a special deep-diving craft called a bathyscaphe. Unlike traditional submarines built for horizontal travel and endurance, bathyscaphes were built for vertical descent to maximum depth. Construction began in Italy in 1953. The first test dives happened in 1954, reaching 3,500 meters. Then, in 1958, the U.S. Navy purchased the vessel, Trieste, and modified it to withstand depths of 11,000 meters. Finally, on January 23, 1960, Trieste made its historic dive into the Mariana Trench. Not Auguste Piccard, but his son Jacques Piccard and U.S. Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh volunteered for the mission. Auguste was now too old to risk it. The two men would spend 9 hours inside a tiny steel sphere, and the journey was incredibly dangerous. Everything was ready. They began descending slowly at 3 miles per hour. At 3,000 feet, they were swallowed by total darkness. Then something extraordinary appeared. Bioluminescent creatures glowing on their own. It felt like drifting through a fantasy world. After nearly 5 hours, they reached the bottom, 36,000 feet deep, a place almost no human being will ever witness. Pure darkness, a silent alien world. As they approached the seabed, they saw soft, muddy sediment and very little life. Then they noticed something remarkable, a flat white fish about 30 centimeters long. Scientists believed this was impossible. Bonefish were not supposed to survive at such depths. Perhaps science had been wrong. Jacques Picard later wrote, "The answer to a question biologists had asked for decades suddenly appeared before us. Could life exist in the deepest part of the ocean? Yes, life was there before our very eyes. But sediment stirred by the descent clouded the cameras. The crew had no choice but to ascend. Still, they had achieved the impossible. They had reached the deepest known point on Earth." The United States quickly turned the achievement into political victory. After the Soviet Union became the first nation in space in 1957, America presented this as the reverse. The first nation to reach the deepest place on Earth. A project started by a Swiss scientist had now become an American triumph. Not surprising, the region deeper than 6,000 meters, including this area, had long been called the Hadal Zone. Its name comes from Hades, ruler of the underworld.